Yo, what's up, world of billionaires out there? I'm looking right in y'all eyes and I'm calling you a billionaire because I know you got it in your heart. Ouch, that's in your heart somewhere in there. Yo, what's going on, man? It's your boy Hood. Get at your homie right there on hoodfilms.com. In case you don't know how to spell it, I'm going to write it down for you somewhere. Look, go to the website, check my new movie. It's called Killer Rapper. I wrote, directed, and starred in this movie. The movie started out in the year 2007. I was driving back from Atlanta. I had went down there with my homie to kick it. We kicked it and shit. It was I think we had saw some homies from Jeezy camp back in the day. We was I didn't know Atlanta. I don't know what the fuck area we was in. I was riding with my homie and shit. They came, met us at some kind of they had an internet cafe or some shit like that. They didn't have it in Chicago at the time, but it was new to that area. So that's where we was going to see some ladies that my homie knew internet cafe that was slash restaurant some shit. And I put that on a website called MySpace. And then the guy from Jeezy camp named Slick Puller, he came in and we took pictures and all that shit. I was kind of nervous about it because I always had a camera out and I'd be running around the hood. And then some people be like, hey, no cameras. But this time it's 2007, so wasn't no Facebook or nothing like that. So we wasn't having really cameras filming everybody. So I had my big camera. It was a big ass camera. It was called a Canon XL1. And I shot the little us hanging out with Slick Puller, whoever this person was, because I really didn't know him. I just knew he was a part of their camp. And I hit them up like, yeah, Hoodfilms gonna be in Atlanta at this location, which was that lady's restaurant. And they literally pulled up and fucked my head up. I was like, the fuck? Them niggas came to that bitch. I was tripped out about that. But that was years ago. It was 2007. So, make a long story short, a lot more shit happened with internet and digital shit. It just took over the world from since then. They became multi-trillionaires. They was already probably rich back then, Jeezy and the rapper, his crew and all that. But that was just years ago. And so on my way back from Atlanta, I had an idea about these two movies. Well, one of the movies was called Killer Rapper. So I wrote the story for from a rap song that I heard. I heard a rap song called Killer Rapper from a rap artist named KRS-One, who I used to listen to growing up on Southside Chicago. He's from New York. You probably heard of him, BDP, famous. So I used to listen to all his rap. So anyway, I heard his newest song that came out in '07. It was about Killer Rapper, and it was so poignant. This song just hit on every element of what going through that phase of why it happens and why it's not investigated. And it was just such a psychological song, the words. I thought about that. I was like, yeah, because, I actually grew up in the East Coast, West Coast battle. I was in my early 20s at that time. So I was knee deep in the hip hop. It was not like it wasn't hands on with me. It was like everything was going on. I was right there, hitting the clubs, doing that shit. But I wasn't in New York. I wasn't in LA. And it happened. It happened. So it affected me. I was like, damn. I had wrote a play called Me and My Girlfriend, which is one of the Tupac songs, but it was like a reference to his death, and I put the play on down at my college I was going to called Columbia College, which also was my film school. But make a long story short, I wrote this song, this script called Killer Rapper, and so I came back and I wrote another script called Hero, which I shot that too, but I did that for my film class getting my master's degree in filmmaking. But the movie Killer Rapper, I wrote it and it was just like this story I had made. It was kind of all over the place, but I knew that this story could be done correctly. But the thing is, some scripts go into a place called development hell. So I didn't know this. I just wrote the script and I tried to get it done. It kept falling through. So I had a lot of things changed in my life. I went to Hollywood. I did some stuff at Universal. Had to check a motherfucker up there. Left that gig. Came back to the shop. Did some little moving around here. A few years later, got called back up to Hollywood. Did some work at one of the production companies up in Paramount Pictures. Got me some great connects. Worked on some shoots. Came back to Chicago. But then I started getting my hands deep doing other things. So I went up to the Bay Area because I wrote the movie Killer Rapper. But I didn't want it to, because now a few years had went by, like about 4 years had went by since I wrote the script. I couldn't get it done. I tried to get it done in '08, but the guy who was going to play the main rapper in the movie, he quit the film. And his homies was going to play a lot of the other secondary characters. So when he quit the movie, he pulled all of them out the movie with him. Which he quit the movie because he was telling me at the time he had a job offer in Florida. So I just had to accept it. I was like, damn, what the fuck? I want to shoot this movie. So I had to accept it. So he went on. and he left, so the movie didn't get done. And it pissed me off because I had got into a little argument with his homies, and I didn't script this whole ass nigga because I wanted to fucking get my film done. But he started talking kind of jazzy to me about some lady that neither one of us was fucking. And I just was like, not only can I scrape this nigga, I can get your pussy ass scraped, but I ain't even take it there. I was like, you know what? Whatever. We arguing with some female that it wasn't even over the female. Like I spoke to the girl, and he was like, "Nigga, I'm talking to her." Some weird shit, and we was in some dude crib who lady it was, you know. So it was kind of weird. I left it alone. Let me go finish my movie. I ain't got time to talk to this goofy ass nigga. So anyway, the movie, and that was shit '08. So we just left the movie shoot, but I stopped connecting with those guys, and then I think what year was that? Oh, what I did right after that, I went to the Bay Area and I connected with my peoples up there in Northern California, and I got to understand a person called Mac Dre, which I heard about him. I knew he had got shot and killed in the Midwest. I think it was like Kansas or something like that. But I just heard about it. I knew he was a person. I heard about him, but I didn't know nothing about his life or his story. So I went up there and I did like a short documentary on just the Bay Area hip hop scene, what it is, the skateboarding world. Just, I didn't know nothing about this. I'm from the hood. I'm from Chicago on the South Side. I've never been to that area. So I went up there. I filmed the weed dispensaries, all that shit. I had fun just kind of getting to know that world. And then I came back to the Shy. Still was trying to get the movie done. Got no movement, no legs. It was just flat. I couldn't get the movie getting off the ground for nothing. So I kept trying to just revamp the story, try to add elements to it. I remember sitting up, looking at the pages, blocked out, like, how the fuck do I get this done? Actually reading my books again and trying to add this different exposition and action parts to the film and making sure that it was interesting. Like, I guess, see, I don't know if it worked. You'll be able to know on your own when you see the movie. Aside from that, I went back to the Bay Area, and this time we shot a little bit more. I got to know a little bit more about that background, met some more people in the clothing line game. That's how I was able to kick off my clothing line because I was up in the Bay Area, and that's where it actually kicked off at. I was already wanting to get hats and shit like that done, but it really kicked off when I got to the Bay because it was like you could get a lot more done up in the Bay Area versus in LA where I had a lot of problems. You go up to the Bay Area, a lot of shit just like, it's not even a block of shit. And that's cool to know because in America, like in Chicago, it's a lot of blockades, a lot of shit you can't get done. You black, racial shit. And then you go to LA, it's a lot the same way. It's not even as many black people as it is in Chicago as it is in LA. It's a lot of black folks in LA. So you still run into those blockades. You know what I'm saying? But when you go to the Bay Area, it is no blockades. Nothing is stopping you. I mean, you can even have companies that could become Fortune 500 companies. It's that smooth all the way up to the top. Obviously, you got to work your ass off, know people, and grind, but you can get shit accomplished. But we got this done. This is one of the looks. This is actually the same look from that we had back then. I've been using the same font for years. You know what I'm saying? It's basic. I know it look basic, but that's what we've been doing. Well, make a long story short, I went back to the Bay. I came back to the shop. So now I had to start getting my name back in the grind because I was shooting stuff, but I was doing more of a Hollywood look in the Hollywood world, trying to rub shoulders in that game. And so I had to get back in the streets, which I did. I started hitting the swap-a-ramas. I started hitting everywhere on the streets, literal streets, and then grinding out here on the streets. And then eventually I moved downtown again. I used to hustle downtown, and I stopped, and then I moved back downtown to hustling on the streets. And I literally been down on the streets every single day, even to this day. Tomorrow will be New Year's Eve. I will be on the streets hustling this 2020. So make a long story short, and I also got into Walmart.com too. So in case you want to see this shirt and buy it right now, you can get it. It's on Walmart.com. Order one today. Put Hoodfilms inside the search at Walmart.com and support us because that was been a journey. Imagine that, hustling on the streets for years and then being at Walmart.com. Can you imagine that? That's rags to riches right there, baby. So make a long story short, as I finished the script for the movie, I played with it, I worked on it, I tried to get it right. I heard about more people dying, people that played in my own older films that were rappers in real life. They even passed away, and people was like, that knew I had a script, like, damn, you should kind of corner this about his life. But I didn't want it to be about one specific human's life because just knowing about a Mac Dre or people that die around the world, you don't want to be telling their personal story because then I make that family uncomfortable because it's like he say, she say, it might be facts It might not be. And I don't want to be talking about nobody's personal life because it's a movie and movies are phony. Movies are fake. It's not real. It's a story that's made up. It might be a story that you kind of reflect through or know about, but it's not real. And I wanted to keep it with that. I wanted to keep the story where it's not real. So my initial story that I had when I came back from '07, I had reconfigured it a little bit more. And I had watched a movie called Citizen Kane when you get your degrees in filmmaking to make you watch this movie. So I watched that movie again, and I saw how I want to kill a rapper to reflect that storyline. Not necessarily that specific storyline, but have something along the way of that because the way he configured that movie, if you ever watch it, it's from the 1940s. It's dope as hell. Orson Welles is 25, 26 years old when he made that film. And that was a phenomenon. You know, he used depth of field, he used cameras, he used cinematography, he used color, light and dark, he used stage and shot frame compositions, he used everything in that movie. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to try to put a lot of tricks in the movie. And then what happened is eventually getting the movie done, I got connected to one of the producers who I ran into over my lifetime. And he was like, yo, I want to help you produce this film. And I was like, yo, I'm going to be the main character. And he immediately was like, let's do it. And I was like, okay, bad. This actually could happen because I fuck around and haven't had acted in years. I literally just been directing. But as a director, you're studying acting. You're literally studying acting because you have to read about how to deal with the fucking people. You got to deal with the humans, the people who come to help you bring their story to life. And they people, they got needs and wants and issues and complaints. And you have to be open for that dialogue and communication with them. And you have to be like a caring individual and be open for them to have dialogue to you about how they want to change some shit. Like I've literally sometimes done it wrong. Like I've done a film in 1999. It literally was my first film. Well, it was probably like I say my first film because my film before that was really just for college. But this was my film that was going to the world, and I directed it. It was a short film, like 15 minutes. But when we were shooting one of the scenes on location, the girl was crying. And I thought we had just got out the car. Like, we had just made it out the car. We got to the spot. I'm like, boom, we're going to film here. 2 minutes, less than a minute, I see her again. She bawling. I'm tripping like, the fuck? Did something go wrong? I went to her. I'm like, hey, did something go wrong? Are you okay? She said, I'm preparing for the goddamn role, dummy. I'm like, oh. Why did this is my first experience seeing somebody get so in depth in a character so fast. Not only was this girl a good actress, she's literally acting in Hollywood right now today. Her name is Karima Westbrook. You should Google her. You know how to spell it. I said the name right. Karima Westbrook with a K. Google that girl because she's acting in stuff right now. My girl, who I'm still with from back then, she just saw her in some Netflix show. And she was like, look. And I was like, what? She turned her little iPad around. It was Karima playing some guy's wife, a white man wife. And we all from Chicago, so it fucked my head up. I was like, oh my God, I'm so proud of her. And that's 20 years later. See, this is 1999 when I shot that film. So, make a long story short, the guy got on board and he was going to help me make this movie. And we was taking off on this journey. And that's what happened. So, I was going to produce the movie. I had got my money back together to help me make the film. You know what I'm saying? And we jumped into the journey. And it was like, let's do it. I hustled my ass off, man, on these fucking streets for years. I did that. And I knew that by doing this, no one could stop me from making this movie. See, if I had to go to somebody and get money, then they would be able to have a say-so in something in the film. And that's a no-no when you're a creative artist. Nobody can tell you nothing about this film. Nothing. Now, they can have critiques and they can have likes and needs and wants. I'm not against that. But you can't tell me no creative parts about this film because it's a vision. And I'm bringing a vision from that do not exist to an actual fruition. It's going to be a fucking finished product. And so I can't have your input on it. If you have input, you should just go create your own. And then tell me by me looking at yours what you did differently, which is what I didn't do. So I couldn't have input on this film from that kind of perspective. So I went out there and I wanted to make my own money. So I went and stacked my chips. I literally hustled on the streets from 2014 to 2019. And I sold every fucking day. I did not take a day off. I sold every day. I took days off when the weather come around because in Chicago, it's literally, you can't be on the streets. It's so cold. That's why people knew that that Jussie Smollett kid was lying, because it comes to a point in this city that you can't even be on the streets, and it's like 3 a.m. If you see a person on the streets at 3 a.m., you better call the fucking police, because he about to die, because the wind and all that shit is gonna kill his ass. Or if you see a person on the street, you know they about to be indoors within 2 to 5 to 20 minutes, because if they not, the wind gust, the cold is gonna kill them, and it's just that simple. So when that kid had like a fucking, I think he had like a little leather jacket or some shit on, it was like, boy, you would never would have survived out there, especially getting your ass kicked. So that was like a dumbass story that he came up with. But make a long story short, the movie had to get done, so the money came together through the grace of God, and we went out there, hustled every single day. I sold my older films, which I have around here. Yeah, I'll show you this. I'll show you this one. This was a documentary that I created, where I went out and I filmed all of the artists that made music on downtown Chicago. And some said no, and then some said yes. The ones who said yes, they made it onto the project, and they made it onto the movie. After I produced this film, what I told each one of the artists is that I'm going to give you your section of this film, so you can also say your name and your Facebook and all that shit, so that when I send you this copy, you can put this up on your YouTube or your Facebook and all that shit. And everybody at this time was like, cool. And I was like, man. So I made this for the artists that was going to be on this project, and I sent them all their shit. After I did that, I was selling the DVD portion of this project, and it was selling. When we did like, well, I think we did something like the NFL draft for like 2017. I can't even remember what year it is now, 16, 17. And, oh, maybe we did Lollapalooza 17 or 16. I can't remember. But what year? But what happened was, you, before we did this Lollapalooza meeting, I had met George Lucas, the filmmaker. Just spontaneous part of life. I met George Lucas. He's such a cool dude. He literally had a conversation with me. Since I'm selling on the streets, I know how to talk real fast. And so I knew that this was a moment where I had to talk fast. He had gave some other people an autograph. So I saw him, it was just me out there. I said, this is a chance of a lifetime. I'm gonna go over there. And I spoke to him, and I started talking to him real quick. And he could understand me. And we started talking. I started telling him about, I want to make my brand just like your brand, where you use that, because I had saw an interview when he was saying something about ancillary products, using ancillary products. And then he said back to me, he was like, you should do that, because that's the way he made all of his fortune, by finding ways to make his film have ancillary products. And so if that's a good way of doing it. I already heard this in the interview, but now I'm talking to him one-on-one on Michigan Avenue at one of the hotels. We just so happen I'm walking past. He on the fucking sidewalk. I can't believe I'm seeing him, but he had the iconic shirt on, which is like a blue and white checker kind of shirt. And I was like, wow, that's fucking George Lucas. So anyway, I chatted with him maybe a good, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes it could have been, and then he had to go, and I went on about my business. So then we fast forward to the actual, I think it was Lollapalooza or something, and that's when I realized that having the ancillary product to that DVD, which is the actual music from that film, would be the money. And so we put the fucking music on a CD, and it took the fuck off. And so that's another thing about taking a chance on yourself, because this DVD, I was coming to these people saying, let me get your work and I'm going to give you my work. But see, I was thinking that the video portion was going to be the win, because I mean, that I'm a video person. But after meeting George Lucas, I realized that the other elements to this project is also how you make money. And there's probably a lot of people like, duh, what the fuck, you didn't realize that? So even this picture right here, I made this photo. So you got, one time I had a photo of Sears Tower. This is on 8th and Wabash. This is a scene where I shoot this picture all the time, right across the street from the college I went to in Chicago. It's like an open space now, because they used to be a Harold's Chicken there. They knocked their building down. So now it's an open space, so you can just see the Sears Tower. My new cover for my movie, Killer Rapper, it also has this Sears Tower in it, but you don't see this stuff in front of it. So what you see in front of it is the Bean. The Bean is a picture I took shooting at the Bean in Chicago. It's downtown, a little blocks away from where I sell. So this building is a part of, if you shoot in that direction, this building is like Michigan Avenue, so you can't. The Bean is actually in a park, but it's a few steps away from the sidewalk on Michigan Avenue. So if you shoot in that direction, Michigan Avenue got all the high rises. This is one of those buildings, and this is one of those buildings on Michigan Avenue, and this is the Bean. So I juxtaposed this shot from the Sears Tower, where it's normally an open space, and I just kind of set all this in between there. So if you look at this, you're like, well, damn, this is like one shot, but it's actually a collage of two different pictures. This, I left it hard. I wanted to be a hard cut there because I could have blended this and made this more clean. And that's what most artists do. I have a master's degree in digital imaging too. Why I wanted this to be hard is I wanted it to look like it wasn't professional. I wanted to look like this Chicago is slapped in here hard. So it's saying downtown Chicago. So if I would have let this blend in, you probably would have looked over that this is the Chicago Theater. Word of Chicago. I wanted this in there, but see, I'm a human, so I'm standing on the sidewalk. You can't grab that C so well, but this is Chicago, and the O is cut off automatically because in order for it to put it inside this little sheet of paper, you got to cut off some of the word to get in there. So it's Chicago. It was supposed to be called Downtown Chicago Live Music. So I described to you this project because this project is the reason that I was able to make that movie, because I sold this music, which was not rap music. It's not rap music. This music was me curating a specific artist in Chicago that made a specific sound. So when I first started selling downtown, I used to go for long ass walks. I just would walk, 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 walk. This gave me getting healthy because I'm sitting here editing all the time. And I'm man boobing it, getting fat as fuck, eating all kind of bullshit, smoking weed. So I'm not working out like I want to. So I get up, I go for long ass walks, horrendous ass walks, and then I come back and I can edit because I felt like, yo, I got up, I got my ass out to sea. So what I would do is, when I came back from those walks, then I can go back to work on my film and do my editing and shit like that. But at that time, I walked past this building downtown Chicago that was a jazz building. It was closing. At this time, I'm selling my DVDs at this time. It was closing. And it was the build. I did my research on this building. And I'm like, who is these people? And they had been there for 50 years. A white dude owned it. Why he was closing, I don't know. He just was saying, I'm closing. They had built Trump Tower. Trump Tower is like about a block up from where this building is now. I don't know if that has something to do with it or what. But he was closing. What this building was is he had the only jazz and blues physical store in downtown Chicago. But he was closing after 50 years. So all of his music, he was donating that shit, giving it away, and blah, blah, blah. So the building that he physically owned or ran is just empty now. It's just like a little spot they used to have a company in there for 50 years. It's no longer. So I thought about that. I said, damn, so he leaving downtown, the only fucking person who sold jazz and blues in the Chicago district, he's leaving. That's crazy. So after talking to George Lucas that day for that short moment, I realized that this music on here was technically just jazz and blues because it was horns, it was drums. It's not really somebody saying words. It's people playing music on the street. And I wanted to captivate that and grab it and bring it to a fruition and give these people a moment to shine in their own world. And at this time, it's what, 2000, I don't know, 17, 16 or some shit like that. At that time, everybody don't have these cell phones like they got today, and they filming, I could do my own videos and shit like that. So having a video for somebody professionally with their name on it, people was into that shit. So we got the film out there, we got the CD out there, and it took off on Michigan Avenue. People buying it. Michigan Avenue is a unique place because you have people from all over the world coming through there as tourists. And as tourists, they stopping through there, they kicking it, they like, yo, what's up, I'm coming through. They buying this shit, they going all over the world. You learn how to talk different languages. It's a whole nother world. I have a YouTube page on that called Live on Michigan Avenue. So you can check that out on that. I haven't made a post in a while because with the pandemic that has slowed up a little bit. But I just wanted to give y'all the backstory on the reason why I was able to produce this thing. And after meeting George Lucas, I understood about how important having an ancillary product is. So making that movie Kill a Rapper, coming up with the storyline, and then finding a way to monetize it from a perspective of the ancillary product part of it, making the T-shirts, making different things related to hip hop and related to filmmaking. Learned I learned that from seeing that movie Citizen Kane. He put so many elements in that movie in the 1940s. From back then in the 1940s, a lot of this shit wasn't even thought of, superimposition and a long depth of field, and it just things like that. That's really dope now if you think about it. But today they use it all the time. So I wanted to make sure that I put some of those elements in that movie. I hope I did. I think I did. I'm almost certain that I did. You know what I'm saying? And I put my best foot forward. I put a lot of effort into creating one of the best movies that I could, because I wanted this to be my calling card. You know, and I'm the guy who I had helped me make the movie. I knew he was smart. I like, this nigga know his shit, because I watched him go get a directing degree. I mean, go get a directing award in New York days before he called me. He was so excited about getting his degree, his award. He said, "Yo, man, I want to help you make your movie." I was like, "Man, straight up, hell yeah, let's do it." And we made it happen and shit. So we went around Chicago. We got the best team of actors. We got the best team of crew members. And we made the damn thing happen. And I'm just so fucking happy that you will be able to see this movie. And it's right now on my website. It's called Kill a Rapper. You can go to hoodfilms.com. This word, in case you can't spell it, put .com in there and pop up my movie and go look at it and go tell me what you think and leave a comment. Wait a minute. Yeah. That's what it is. You can rent it. I'm trying to make my money as an independent, because if I go sell the movie to somebody, they're going to promote the fuck out of it, but they're going to get the lion's share of the money. So that means if 900,000 get made from the film, they're going to make 850,000. I might get 50,000 from them up front, and they'll give you 50 G's right now. The fact that I signed the contract, yo, can I be down with y'all? They said, yeah, sign right here, and they give me 50 G's. I could take that 50 G's, invest it in Tesla, invest it in some stocks, buy a building, put some more money into my brand. But eventually that 50 G's gonna run out. And then they'll tell me, yo, everyone we sell, every portion we get, we gonna give you 20%, we'll keep 80. You happy, you got a deal. People gonna look at you and say, wow, man, we knew you was gonna make it one day. We knew you was gonna be successful. Yusef, you've been doing hood films. Look, you got a tattoo on your neck on both sides. You got a tattoo on your arms on both sides. Like, you really was going to be doing it. First, you love this shit. You made it. And then people get their money. They paid out their ass. They rich as fuck. And I'm sitting back like, my motherfucking checks ain't kicking in. That 50 G's, I made another 6,000. And then they ain't sent me shit else. Hello? What happened to my motherfucking sales? Oh, well, we spent $1 million on motherfucking advertising. That's why everybody know about this shit. So we ain't got no more money for you. If we cross $1 million in sales, we'll let you know. We had 900,000, so you're almost there. And then you call back a year later. Did we ever hit that million yet? No, we still at 900,000. 5 years later. Did we hit that million yet? No, we at 900,000. Whole time they eating, and you ain't got no proof that they ain't. But you sold yours, and that's what it is. And you don't get to go back on that. So what I decide is keep your condo, keep your boat, keep your island, keep your motherfucking Valenciagas and shit, all your Louis V. I don't want it. I don't need it. What I want, 100% ownership of this. 100%. You don't get a penny. You don't get a dollar. You don't get a meeting. You don't get a cent. What you can do is go start your own thing, and I'll support you because I'm not a hater. But you don't get a penny of this. Not at all. Everything I make come directly to me. And who else do it go to? My children. But it don't go to nobody else. You didn't work for this. You didn't put the effort in. You didn't read these books. See how thick these books is? You see that? You think they've been through this book? Oh, you just thought that was one? It's the sister book. Guess what it is? Even thicker. And I travel with these no matter where I go. And that's just my life. I ain't saying you should do that. This nerd game, you don't have to do this shit. You might be a person that understands this shit. So you can do you. This my other book that I travel with no matter where I go. These books is fucking critical for me. And I keep these books with me everywhere I go. I don't give a shit where I go. And this book right here, I got this book when I visited Princeton. I took my son to go to Princeton, and that's where we came back with. I got this book. I got this book, which I'm still reading, The Cinema of Me. I got this from Princeton, right in a bookstore. I got another one, too. Where the other one book from Princeton? Here it is. I need to put this on the internet because it's been about a year now. I took my son to Princeton about last year. See that? The Hollywood Jim Crow. See, so if you ain't building knowledge and you just walking around here playing, oh, hold up, I jumped over this book. I ain't never finna jump over this book. I ain't jumping over this book. I gotta see this joint. This joint. See that? Documentary Principles and Practices, man. Critical book. This thing right here, man. I'm about to start taking this joint on the roll. Me see how I got to roll. So I don't roll with all of them joints. I don't roll with all of them though. Like this one, I'm still reading that joint. This one got Spike Lee in it too, so you know I had to buy that one. We playing, man. Y'all gotta have. I thought Spike was in this. I think he is on this one. Is he in this one? Hitchcock, Zhang, Kurosawa, Truffaut. I think he is in this one. A to Z. I ain't picked it up in a few months. Yo, so back to the babies. That joint right here. You need to get this if you're in a documentary filmmaking. I mean, you need to get this. But when you get it, you got to read it every single book, every single word. And you're going to probably need you like a thesaurus or something like that, which or a dictionary, because dude using the language, he from English, so he know how he is with that language. In this book too. But these books are critical because they go through so many elements of the filmmaking aspect that you will overlook. And that's the key point about why you read these books, so that you don't overlook the important parts. This book is good for you trying to build vantage points and all that stuff. This is what I think that Hitchcock did a good job. Not Hitchcock, what's his name? Orson Welles did a good job because he was able to pull this a lot from this, which is like depth of field, different framing, statics, and where your eyes move left and right on the screen. So a lot of that stuff I focus on, and I make sure I put a lot of effort into conducting learning in, so I can put the elements in my film. So that's why I'm not really all the time really jealous of somebody else's creativity or what they making or what they doing, because I be so driven in my own world, and it's like I'm trying to bring my shit to life. So I don't have time to be hating on nobody else. I wish everybody else the best. So, because if I'm hating, then I'm not reading, I'm not studying, I'm not watching more videos, I'm not checking into things to try to build myself up further, to try to take myself to the next level. So, the movie Killer Rapper was made after I watched that movie. I heard that song rather from KRS-One in 2007. We drove back from Atlanta. We had a good time up there. I guess, it was cool. I haven't been back out there, and I get to get back out there because I haven't been back. And man, you know what? That was before 2007. Because 2007, I was up there with yeah, that was before 2007. 2007 when I was up there when my sister-in-law graduated from Spelman. That wasn't 2007. That had to be like 2004 or 3 that we went up there and met that guy named Slick Pillar. So my dates is way off. 2007, man, if you sat through this video through all of this, and I told you a different time in 2007 earlier when I met the kid, Slim Pillar, it was not that year. It was way earlier than that. This had to probably be like about 2001. Because we was on what's that shit again? MySpace. 2007, I just remembered when I was up there in 2007 because my girl cousin had a ranch thing in the back of her crib, and that's where I stayed at. back there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't stay in the main house. I stayed in the back thing, or some kind of thing they had in Atlanta. I was like, this shit dope as hell. Well, I don't know what they call it. Second house, back house, I don't know. But making long story short, that's what happened. I saw the movie. We worked on it. We worked on this film, and I made sure that I put a lot of elements of what I read about and how I study up on filmmaking and things that I saw in filmmaking. And I put a lot of those elements directly in this film because I wanted this movie to stand out to people and be like, yo, this kid know what the fuck he doing. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I want to do with this film. And so now we're working on part two. We're working on trying to get more actors involved. We're making the Killer Rapper 2 and putting it out to further audience members and shit like that, so more people can see it. You know, making a movie was not easy. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, because you're talking about from see when you're doing low budget movies, you have to study. Man, I'm telling you, you got to study, man. That shit's so important, because I want to throw in the towel so many times doing this movie because we had the fucking my producer. This kid is busy, man. He came back getting a directing award, and this nigga phone would not stop ringing. And he was Mr. Nice Guy to everybody. Locking in projects, locking in projects. I'm like, what in the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna be moving. And so he kept telling me, we're gonna finish the movie, Hood. We're gonna finish the movie. I'm like, is this nigga crazy? Man, why are we supposed to do this motherfucker in 20 days? I hate to admit it. This shit took us a year and some. No, it took us about 9 months to shoot. I think it was about 9 months. April. Yeah. Yeah, because we met for our first meeting in November, and we didn't finish till March. So, December, January, February, March. No. We went through that summer. We filmed through that summer. And then we stopped at April. So from March to April. So that was about 11 months. But the latter months, I edited for about 5 or 6 months. So that's what I'm thinking that it was about 9 months. So something like that, about 9 months. So make a long story short, because when I got done with it, I put it up on Amazon, and we'd come back on another video for that. But as far as getting the movie done, it was a struggle. But bro kept saying, "We're gonna get it done, Hood. We're gonna get it done." I'm like, this nigga crazy. So eventually, a lot of shooting, a lot of actors, because this one had a lot of moving parts. You know, in order to bring a story together like this, we're having different people involved, and then trying to get them to the mental capacity or level that we was trying to bring for this film, so everybody got that same energy. You know, it was not easy. You know what I'm saying? And then I was playing the actor in this movie, so I had to do a whole lot of emotional uh, jumping jacks, because again, to be a character, you have to embody this character, then you have to sometimes leave that character and get back to editing, or I'm sorry, to directing. And that was key for me to do both parts in this movie, because I want to stretch it all the way out and put myself in a harsh positions and see if I could do this shit. What can you do? You know, size it up. And I was inspired by Spike Lee and other filmmakers, Tarantino, that have also done this. And that's what I did. So I put that shit up there, and I made the movie and shot the fuck out that shit. We got the scenes done. We had shootouts. We did everything, and then it was a work in progress film that I showed all the actors and everybody so they would be comfortable with what they were seeing. And then we just been waiting to do our releases on the movie. You know, that's been the next phase. So the release dates and all those things is what I've been working on, and making sure I put the last touches on it. You know, so that being said, I'm gonna let y'all get back to y'all day. I want y'all to like and subscribe on my page, man. Thank y'all for listening. I didn't know y'all like long videos. This the first time I realized that y'all like me to bloviate. See that? I could use big words too. I want to bloviate. I have logorrhea. There I go again with another big word. I want you to like and subscribe and hit the bell button, so when I do my videos, you can hit it up. Go to my website, hoodfilms.com, check out the movie, check out the merch. I also want you to go to walmart.com and put Hood Films in the search button. Check out the merch. Go to amazon.com. I got my own store on Amazon. You go to amazon.com, you put Hood Films in there, you're going to see my products pop up. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm finna stop this video, change shirts, and probably pop another one up there. All right, man. Thanks again, and I'll holler at y'all. This your boy Yusef Hood, Hoodfilms.com. CEO. The movie's called Killer Rapper. You can watch it on my website right now, Hoodfilms.com. You go to the website, you scroll down, and you watch the movie, and it's dope as hell. And peace.